Welcome back to my series on gold medal guides. In this video we take on a new south. To be honest, I debated whether to include this because in all honesty this is one of the hardest and extremely frustrating missions in the game. So please remember, if you get frustrated with this one, move on to the next one because it's just not worth worrying about when there are plenty of other easier missions to get your gold rush trophy with. With that being said, the objectives are as follows. 1. Knock out Anders Anderson without taking a hit. Catch and return Anders Anderson to jail within 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Catch a fish with Dutch and Hosea. Before I move on to show you how I did it, I want to first let you know about a setting you might want to change which will help you with the fishing at the end of the mission. In the control section right at the bottom you will find a toggle for hold to reel. I strongly recommend you turn this on as it will make fishing a lot easier when reeling in your fish. I also want to quickly mention that I'm not a keyboard user for this game, so this guide will be aimed at PlayStation and Xbox players only. I will be playing this on a replay for this video. If you want to complete it during a regular playthrough, I strongly advise that you save your game before attempting it. The first part of this mission involves you travelling by horseback with Hosea and Dutch to meet the local lawman, where you find Trelawney in the back of their wagon. So to make sure this video isn't too long, let's speed ahead to when we're attempting to get on the train to chase after the Anderson brothers. Whilst we're chasing down the train, I want to explain the most important gameplay tactics you will need to get this gold mission. And that is something that the game doesn't do well at explaining to you, and this is how to fight and block effectively in a fist fight. At 55 years old, I'm an old gamer, and I must admit completing the objective to knock out Anders Anderson without taking a hit took me a long time to get my head round it. The most important buttons you need to remember during the fight are the triangle or Y button, which makes Arthur grab someone by the neck and grapple them. Once you have them in a head grapple, using the left stick like a button will then make Arthur push the enemy to the ground, where you can then use the circle button or B on your Xbox controller to repeatedly punch them. When you get to the part where you're faced with an enemy on top of the train, you can use this method to practice before reaching Anders Anderson. As you can see here, my practice to begin with didn't go too well because he escaped my grasp to begin with, but I got him down eventually. If you look at the top left corner, the game tells you when grappling an enemy, pushing the left stick and pressing square or X to provide a throw. However, this didn't seem to work for me, so using the left stick and pressing it down like a button worked much better. With that done, let's get on to the main part of the action where we have to fight Anders Anderson. During this fight, if you think you've taken damage, you can reset the checkpoint and try again without having to redo the whole mission. I'll show you shortly how to do this, but first I will show you exactly how I successfully got him on the floor to meet the objective.
Just then, lawman. Come here. You ain't need to bother. Let me go. I can't do that.
The best tactic to begin with here is to back up whilst pressing your block button, and then once he tries to stab you twice, you then reach forward towards him using the grapple button. Once you have him in a grapple, you can then go ahead and press down on your left stick and you will get a prompt to beat him. Now I'll show you how to restart the checkpoint if you think you've taken damage. Hold down the left direction button on your controller and this menu will appear. Select the mission and you can tab through to the checklist and show the objectives. During missions you can use this checklist to tell whether you have met an objective. However, in this mission the game does not mark the first objective as complete until you're out of the train. So you will have to pay close attention to see if Arthur takes damage when you're in the fight. If you think you have taken damage, the game gives you the option to abandon in the bottom right hand corner. This won't abandon the whole mission entirely, so don't worry, but you will be given options to restart the checkpoint or cancel the mission. You can do this over and over again at any time before you pick up Anders Anderson's body. Because this is the very first objective of the mission, restarting this checkpoint will not affect your overall gold medal. I will now show you one more successful fight with Anderson where I didn't take any damage from him, just so you can see how I was trying to do it. When the train pulls off and you lurch forward, get ready to block and retreat back from Anderson as he lunges at you. After he's attempted to stab you a couple of times, and use the grapple button to grab him by the neck. This will be the triangle button for me, but Y on an Xbox controller. As soon as you have him in the grapple, press down hard on the left stick like a button. Then beat him using circle or B until you defeat him. When you think you've done it without taking any damage, the only thing left to do now is to pick him up and, after a very short cutscene, put him on your horse. So as soon as you're back in control of Arthur, run to your horse and stow him on the back. You don't need to rush too much here because Archibald McGregor is a slow walker and takes forever to get to his horse. Do remember though that your second objective here is to catch and return Anders Anderson to jail within 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I believe that the timer for that starts as soon as you face Anders Anderson on the train. As you ride together with Archibald, just keep up the pace with him as quickly as you can. You cannot speed him up at all, so just follow him to Rhodes. When you arrive in Rhodes, try to take him off your horse and drop him on the floor as quickly as you can. This will then trigger the next cutscene. If you manage to get Anderson down quickly on the train, there should be no issues now in completing the second objective of getting him to jail within 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Thankfully, the last objective is a very easy one because you just need to catch one fish. In order to do this, you will have to say yes and accept the fishing invitation. So let's cut out the short ride on the horses to when you arrive at the fishing spot on the boat. Once you're able to, equip your fishing rod and bait and then start to get at least one fish. The game will give you prompts to follow to teach you how to fish, so I won't explain too much here. My advice is to not cast your rod out too far because it will take forever to reel the fish in once you've hooked it. Whilst you're waiting for a fish to bite, because you are using a lake lure, you need to keep reeling in the line at a slow pace until you feel the fish bite and you can hook it. Stop reeling when you see the fish fighting and push the left stick towards you whilst you're reeling to speed it up. The most important thing to remember though is that when you catch a fish, keep it and do not throw it back or this will not count towards the objective. You might have to sit through all the stories that Jose and Dutch are telling you, but afterwards you should then be able to put your rod away by pressing L1 or left bumper. With that done, all you then have to do is enjoy the ride back to Clemens Point and enjoy the singing along the way, after which the mission will end and you will find out whether you managed to get the gold medal. Just remember that there are far easier gold medals to get for your Gold Rush trophy, so if you find yourself struggling with this one, put it aside and try another one. I do hope this guide has helped you. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video if it helped you and provide any advice or comments you have to make sure that YouTube shares this with others that might need it. A link to the playlist for all my gold medal guides will be in the description, together with other helpful guides on all aspects of RDR2.